What's up, everybody? This is another episode of my favorite episode of today. It's me, it's Julie, and our new friend, Zack Gayne, director of new movie, Homewrecker. What's up, Zack?
Hey, you guys. It's great to be here.
Woohoo! Yeah, so he has a new movie directed called Homewrecker. Are you more than the director, Zack?
Yeah, I wrote it with
and you wrote it.
people.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell everybody what it's about and then where they can see it?
Okay, sure. I'll plug that.
Yeah, plug that shit.
Yeah, so I guess my film starts in sort of a, oh my god, I hate pitching my movies so much. I really do. No, it's two women meet. They have a lot of the same sort of yoga classes and exercise classes together, and so they get to talking. At a coffee shop. One is older than the other. They're both at two different stages of their lives. They sort of attempt to bond over this, but one of the women is a little pushier than the other, and you can tell that there might be something sinister with her intentions. And she successfully lures the younger one to her home, and her true intentions are gradually revealed. And I don't like spoiling beyond that because it takes away the fun. But you can see for yourself what happens next if you order it off iTunes or Google Play, or if you're in Canada, it's on Rogers and Shaw as well. Or you can buy the very affordable DVD, which is only $12.99 on Amazon, which I recommend because it's got a commentary, it's got a Q&A, which is what we called our quarantine Q&A.
Oh, love it.
And thank you. And my favorite supplement is you can watch 15 minutes of our composer recording the score, which I shot in Boise.
Awesome.
Well, I'll tell you one thing from that coffee shop scene. There's no shot I would have gone with that lady.
Well, you're a very different bird than Michelle.
But okay, so Julie, why don't you say something? Oh wait, you have we not? We've been talking before this. I'm not sure if she said anything.
God, I cannot.
She loves Canada. Julie
know.
loves Canada. That's what I learned about her pre-recording.
So Zach's from Canada. I love Canada.
Which is new for me.
If you were actually Canadian, you might understand why Michelle got in that car.
Okay, I
There's
don't.
a bit of polite. We have
You guys are
almost
nicer?
like politeness complexes. Nice to a fault in some cases.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I've been listening to, I listened to Alanis Morissette on an episode, a podcast episode recently, and I've heard that, and then I'm like, how could it be so different? It's like it's right over the border.
It's pretty friggin' different.
Yeah.
They're so much nicer.
It's just right over the closed border.
Wow.
So today we are talking about Twin Peaks Season 1, Episode 1, the pilot episode. I have never heard of the show.
Really?
Or have seen it, okay? Yeah.
Did you like it?
No, I did like it.
Okay.
I did. And it's weird because you can definitely tell it's older.
Sure.
But I was watching it, and the very first actress I noticed was Betty Cooper's mom from Riverdale.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, wait, is that really her? I kept thinking this is a new show. So I'm like, wait, that can't be her. Maybe it's her daughter. And then I Googled the cast.
Yeah.
And they're all so much older now that I'm like, I can't tell who the fuck is who.
I know.
Which is definitely a Twin Peaks shout out because as Twin Peaks lovers know, it really changed the landscape of television. Lost was sort of the first one to pick up where it left off. But Riverdale as well is absolutely paying respects.
It is. I get those vibes that small town, everything that's going on in this town is quirky and specific to that town. I loved it. I've never seen it either.
Yeah.
And it's funny. So Kyle MacLachlan was the face of the show for me since I've heard of it. So I'm like, oh, but he was on Desperate Housewives and I hated him on that. And I think that's exactly why I never clicked the thing. I was I can't watch, but I loved him in this episode.
Yeah, he's amazing.
How can you not?
Yeah. He's awesome.
Dale Cooper is such a lovable character.
Oh, he's so crazy. This episode was not what I thought it was going to be. It was so much wackier.
I didn't have a single idea what this show was about. I'm not going to lie. I don't even know what this is about.
Did you know it was going to be horror? Or not horror, but mystery?
No, I didn't. I'm like, I don't. Twin Peaks. I don't know what that means. Like, it was just...
Well, Zach, why don't you tell us why you picked this episode?
Okay, I'll tell you why I picked this show first.
Yeah, let's
because
do
it's more like, because I actually didn't pick this episode. I chose an episode in the middle of the first season, and Matthew suggested, since you guys weren't so familiar, that maybe it would be best to stick with the pilot.
We appreciate
He
it.
does that a lot.
Yeah,
for
we
us.
appreciate it. I would have binged it. I can't wait to binge the rest, but I purposely didn't watch the next episodes because me and Julie both have a habit of not shutting up about things that aren't about the episode we're talking about. So I was like,
Well,
I'll save it.
That would be fine. No, I mean, you've really opened a big can of worms today, especially because he did Lynch and Mark Frost did the unthinkable, and they returned to it in 2017 and did a season 3 25 years later. And season 3 is just an absolute work of art.
Oh, that's
but
not
also
the way I thought that was going. I thought you were going to say bad.
Yeah, me too.
No, it's next level. It's further than the next level. It's
Where can you watch that? Because there's only
unbelievable.
2 seasons on Netflix.
No, I thought there was 3.
So that's on Showtime. Or, Showtime put it out anyway. The way you watch Twin Peaks, and it would take the whole time for me to just tell you all the lore of Twin Peaks, but in a nutshell,
I want it all.
The first season captured the imagination and just broke through to pop culture in a huge way in 1990, and the question of who killed Laura Palmer was on everybody's tongue. It was like it was absolute overnight success, sensation. And season 1 is only 8 episodes, and then season 2 is like the length of 3 seasons. It's like the length of 3 season 1s. But the studio pressured Lynch and Frost to answer the question of who killed Laura Palmer, even though that was like the golden goose. You know, if they answered that question, it was like the show was kind of screwed. But They were under contractual obligation that they had to answer the question, which they do, sort of, in halfway through the second season. And then there's still like another 10 episodes. And some people, depends who you ask, some people will say the show flew off the handle. David Lynch started focusing on films and doing other things. And then Lynch kind of came back for the finale, which is absolutely excellent. But where it gets really interesting, so Twin Peaks left a really bad taste in everyone's mouth. First, it got everybody completely hooked, only to sort of leave them high and dry, is the legacy. And then what Lynch and Robert Engels, who's in a lot of other shows, is they made a prequel to Twin Peaks, because the entire show of Twin Peaks is trying to figure out what happened to Laura Palmer and piecing the puzzle of who was Laura Palmer, who was this prom queen who everybody thought they knew, but it turned out was full of deep, dark secrets. And then the film is a prequel. It is the last 7 days of Laura Palmer's life.
No way.
It premiered at Cannes. It was either 91 or 92. It premiered at Cannes and was booed. Okay, because what's so brilliant about the movie and so hard for people to digest is that the show, and this really gets at why I love it as well, is the show takes something as serious as murder, like a murder of a young teenage woman, and sort of brings it through a soap filter. It kind of merges reality with soap realism, and that combination creates something really special and unique. But the show is still PG. It gets very scary, but for as scary as it gets, it's still under this network television PG lens. So then what the movie does, it takes away that television lens. It lets Lynch tell a restricted story about the very serious topic of murder and sexual abuse and what actually happened to Laura Palmer, and it honors the severity of what the show is about. And it's so ugly that it made people sick, and they booed it. And now, like 25 years later, it's recognized as the masterpiece that I always knew it was. But I'm a little bit younger, so I didn't get to see it in 1991 and whatever. If I was the same person as I am now, I still think I would have loved it. But when I saw Firewalk with Me, it absolutely blew my mind. That's the scope of this big can of worms.
So when you watch it, you watch season 1, season 2, movie, and then season 3. That's
exactly
how it was intended. Okay. God, I didn't even know there was a movie.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I knew that they rebooted it, quote unquote, for a season 3 in the future.
Yeah.
I already can't wait to binge it.
Yeah, I went through the whole cast on Google.
You're so lucky.
Well, I actually had
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, see, that's great. And I honestly was not expecting to be blown away by it, but I had the chills so many different times, and even though you can tell, like Julie said, you can tell was done in 1990. Like some of the music, I'm telling you, the scene where the mom is on the phone with the dad when the dad finds out, and they have this like
horrible
old school 80s 90s music, like so corny music playing in the back, and my arm hair was like coming out of my skin. I was like, holy fuck, this is intense and is like doing its job. I am shook to death.
Right.
I
think we need to arrive at a better word than corny, because I know what you're saying.
Sure,
and I think we may want to say like soapy perhaps, or like overwrought possibly, but the score is so powerful.
Oh my God.
It's the theme song. It's like part of the character of the show, and it's what fans know and love. And by the end, by when you're done watching, I want you to remember that you use the word corny, because you will not be using it by the time the show's over.
I will rue this day. I take it back.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Because I know what you mean.
I would be just as fierce about my favorite shows if someone did that too. So
well, no, but also the fact that like music that could be described as corny is making your hairs on your arm or whatever stand straight is like the genius of the show. It's the juxtaposition that is so remarkable.
I don't know why. I kept I don't know if I still have PTSD from The Haunting of Hill House, but every time it zoomed on her face, I just was expecting her eyes to open. Like every time it would zoom on her dead body, like I was like curling up on the couch because I was like, her eyes are going to open. I fucking know it. And then I'm like, no. She's
Lynch
dead.
takes no cheap shots.
Well, like Julie, I didn't know much about it either. I knew the premise, and I saw something about like quirky characters. There were parts that were funny to me. I'm like, this is actually fun. Like right away, you get the receptionist who's super quirky. You get like everyone's screaming. Everyone's like just running around. The one sheriff is sobbing over her body, and I was like laughing at him. There's the woman with the eye patch. I'm like, this town is
Nadine.
awesome. I love that you know all that. I mean, obviously, I didn't know if she was actually going to be a character or not. Or she's just like yelling about the drapes.
I need to know what I think her name is. Audrey. Is that someone? Audrey.
Audrey Horne. Danger Slut.
Yeah, I need to know what Audrey's deal is. Audrey's wild.
Audrey reminds me of Ferusha Balk from The Craft.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
She is.
I could 100%
that, like,
agree with that.
Yeah. It's that like short
My
hair
friend's
rebellion.
been murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a million quotes. Like I have one that's just like, it's the guy calling the sheriff in the first place, and he's just like, she's dead. Yeah. Instead of being like, who? She's like, where? like who? There's another quote I have. I think it was Bobby. He's like, you ever been surprised before? And I was just like, I actually don't know who said it, but I was like, some of these quotes are so fucking funny.
Yeah, fucking Bobby.
Also, since this was the pilot, like there are so many quotes that will go down in the history of Peak's lore. So, for example, she's dead, wrapped in plastic. Like that is such like iconic line. I believe there was like newsletters called "Wrapped in Plastic" and that kind of thing.
The part where they find out at school and Donna Hayward just starts like bawling. That's like a famous GIF. I don't know if you guys know that.
No, I didn't.
So I send them all the time. Like now that you can send them in text messages, I just do it all the time. And like I flash back to that. Like I've never seen this show ever, but I've tweeted that before.
Really?
And it was I was watching the season finale of This Is Us, and I was like,
that's another,
this is me right now. And it was that scene of her crying.
That's another.
But oh my God, when they look at her empty chair, it's just like heartbreaking.
And they just like know, like before anything's even said,
Exactly.
they're just like, something's wrong.
Yeah, that
exactly.
and James looks so suspect in that, like so his face is out of control.
Yeah,
I'm like, this guy knows something. I mean, I don't know.
There's so many scandals going on. Like, first of all, cheating. I mean, how many freaking people are cheating on each other?
I know.
We got like three
it's very
different couples. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby, I'm about to punch him in the face.
I know.
Shelley the waitress was always, there was like a Rolling Stone issue. It's like the women of Twin Peaks. And Shelley was the one who had my eye.
Yeah, that's Betty Cooper's mom. Still looks the same.
Oh, Matchkin Amick is in Riverdale.
Yes.
I see.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, I love Shelley. I got to see her at the Cine Family in LA and I do a Q&A of Stephen King's like Sleepwalkers.
Oh my
But,
God, that's amazing.
Munchkin.
I honestly didn't even recognize her, and then I looked at the IMDb like you did, and I was like, what?
See, I thought it looked just like her.
I mean, it does now that I know
like, I was like, wow,
Well,
she
'cause
looks
it is
exactly
her.
the same. No. I mean, like, she doesn't, like, some of them, like Bobby, I don't really think, if you look at least the picture that's, like, first comes up when you Google the cast, I didn't really think that looks like him. Like, he obviously looks way older, where she looks literally exactly the same. Like, she didn't really age horribly. So, shout out to her.
Yeah, Bobby is like causing trouble at all times during this episode. It's like, just relax. The best is the fight. The fight in the bar is so hysterical. The punches they're throwing are like the most clumsy punches in the entire world.
And that's
I like when they go pick up Donna, or they try to go pick up Donna, but she snuck out and Mike's at the door and Bobby's just like surfing on the hood of the car, like drinking beers. He's like, don't worry, Bobby's doing most of the driving.
Yeah. It's definitely a different time.
I know. In the beginning, when like you are introduced to Bobby and then you see him like pick up Shelly and they're like making out in the car, like I had to rewind it because I was like, wait, did they say Bobby?
Yeah.
Because in the very beginning they're like Laura and Bobby, and so my first note is, damn it, Bobby, you cheater.
Yeah.
Hey, Laura's got some secrets of her own.
I know.
I can't wait to know what they are. When James is like, no one knew her. We'll get to that part. But I want to talk about.
Well, she's like, not even Donna.
Yeah.
Not even you knew her. And Donna's like, I knew her.
Yeah.
not to get morbid, but like the scene where the principal is telling the whole school, I was like, we are so lucky that we did not have something like that while we were in school. I can't even imagine hearing that, even if you don't know the person. I was watching it with like my hands on my cheeks, like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, this is
I have chills right now thinking about it. That is one of the hardest scenes to watch, along with the phone call.
Yeah, or when her dad has to ID her body. I was like,
oh my God. Well, I clocked it. 36 minutes in is when we meet Kyle MacLachlan's character.
I clocked it too. I went to see how far in we were.
Yeah, and I was like, I was waiting. I was like, wow, because he is the face of it for me. And when we get the second girl who comes in with almost
Ronette Pulowski.
Yeah, exactly. When she comes in, I'm like, is this the same goddamn day? Because like the FBI shows up hours later.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, this is all the same day. This is insane. Like, I was questioning it, and then they're questioning Bobby, and he's like, where were you you were with her last night. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Like, what happened last night? Yeah. What happened last night? And then like when Harry and Josie, they're like, it must have happened 24 hours ago right now. Like toward the end of the episode.
Right.
And just dialing back to Ronette Pulowski for a second, one of my favorite quiet moments of the show is after Josie Packard closes the mill and mentions that like Ronette Pulowski's father works at the mill, and then there's a shot of him being like taken outside. That's such a great way to deliver information. And it's like not like Ronette Pulowski's father is a character in the show. Mm-hmm. I don't think he ever even comes back. And without spoiling too much, Ronette Pulowski, who's kind of in a coma, which is such a wonderful soap trope for like most of the show. It's like, will she wake up? What does she know?
Yeah.
You know, she's such a not really a decoy, but just that pilot dangles so many questions and so many cliffs.
Well, her walking on that bridge or train tracks or whatever it is, again, chills. I was like, another girl? Are they even connected? They have to be connected. Like, this is such a small town. Something like this rocks a small town, and to think that there can't be two separate events that happen in the same night. So I'm like, how did she escape? It's cold outside. It looks so
What's
cold.
What's the connection?
Someone get her some clothes.
Yeah,
it's freezing,
Ronette.
Right.
Nightgown.
Oh my
Poor
God.
girl.
So have you guys, by any chance, seen Blue Velvet or any other David Lynch films for that matter?
I don't. Is Blue Velvet, I'm going to say this, and this might sound crazy. Is Blue Velvet with Ryan Gosling? Okay.
It is not.
I knew it. I knew when it was coming out of my mouth that's wrong. But no, I have not.
I don't think so.
God, what are we good
I
for?
haven't seen anything. Kathleen.
Well, I feel like I've really just opened a big world for you guys. David Lynch is my favorite filmmaker, and all of his films are worlds unto themselves, but he himself is a world unto himself. And when you're watching Blue Velvet, which might be the place to start,
okay,
there's a very famous shot in Blue Velvet which was so disturbing that like Ebert gave it 0 stars. He couldn't handle a movie that went there. I want you to think of that scene. You'll know the one, but I want you to think of Ronette Pulowski when it gets to that scene. Because to me, this is like a PG version of the scene in Blue Velvet.
I need a curriculum.
I would rather like teach David Lynch in a school than be a filmmaker. Can I be both?
Yeah.
Sure, you can be anything you want.
Yeah.
You're doing great. We're your first
true.
2 students. We're good.
Thank you.
You're going to fail me.
Cool. I would not start at Twin Peaks, nor would I end at Twin Peaks. It is the centerpiece of his career.
Oh, well,
The
I'm gonna
one
watch that.
part of this that, like, actually I had to cover my eyes. Well, so I don't know if you listen to our podcast, but everything grosses me out and I'm scared of everything. So the scene where he goes like under her fingernail to take.
It's bad.
Oh my God. I was like kicking my feet on the couch. Like I was like, oh my God, like what is it? But also like, stop. Like you're so far under that fucking fingernail.
Yeah.
No, I know. I can't watch that either.
Oh, it's brutal.
And I'm good with gore.
I love a good mystery, thriller, murder stuff. The R under the fingernail is what made me go, yes, I'm in.
Yeah.
Because it's more than,
Cool.
I mean, it's more than just someone got mad and killed their girlfriend and whatever down by the sawmill. But I was like, whoa, okay. That got me sold.
This reminds me of, I'm very careful with spoilers, so I don't think you'll consider this a spoiler. But just like you were saying that it was interesting that Dale Cooper doesn't join the show until the 36-minute point, when you finally get to Fire Walk with Me, and when you get to Fire Walk with Me, I swear there will not be a movie you want to see more than Fire Walk with Me. And then when you finally pop it on, it's like a 2.5-hour movie, and you'll wish it was longer. But it takes 30 minutes to get to Twin Peaks.
What?
Wow.
What does that mean? Okay, I'm not even going to ask. I'm just going to clock that in my brain for when I watch
forget it. Or just forget it. Forget this information. And remember once you start watching it.
Yeah. Every time I watch something like this and they're like going through the, for lack of a better term, murdered girls' personal belongings, I'm like, I have to get rid of my diaries. Like
I have
literally,
the Secret Diary of Laura Palmer.
Do you? I'm like,
It was published.
I have literal diaries that I've written in my life,
actually?
and I need to burn them.
Wait, what do you
like, what if
mean?
I die?
I need more.
Yeah.
What
I've
do
already
you
gotten
mean?
rid of my one I wrote senior year of high school because that
wrote
is
a
just
diary like
yeah,
every day.
I kept a diary. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Did it
not
have a
every day.
baggie with a little bit of Coke in it? And
No,
a key?
but I was like, this is so much cooler than mine. And I also love the scene of him just cracking it open because you can tell it's such a small town. Like the sheriff's department doesn't want to just pop open this diary and he's like, fuck this. Pops it right open because there's no way. It's like, it's evidence now. Open it. But I love that the dad was like, do you have to take that? Because it is. It's sacred. Nothing sacred once you go. It's sad.
Hey, you guys, what if that's not actually Laura Palmer's diary?
Someone planted it? You're kidding. You're kidding.
I can't even focus. I'm trying to plot on how I'm stealing all of Kathleen's diaries. What do you have in there?
Just my deepest, darkest
Secrets.
thoughts and feelings.
You are Laura Palmer.
I am.
Kathleen's full of secrets.
I am.
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that great.
Get that published.
No.
Dude, that's so funny. Drunk Kathleen.
I haven't read it. I've never looked back.
That's hilarious.
I believe the published Secret Diary of Laura Palmer was actually written by Lynch's daughter, Jennifer Lynch.
Huh.
It
You got her
actually
thinking
is
now if they
that somebody planted
the
it.
diary. It's not her diary. Like
That laugh.
Well, okay. You're going to find this out in like the next episode or two.
Okay. tell
But
me.
that is Laura's diary, but there also exists a secret diary of Laura Palmer.
Okay,
The safety
let's jump to something random. Can you explain the like Norwegian? Like, is that just like a funny little thing that they used in the pilot to be like, we have like a plot device? I don't even know. Like,
Well,
is
didn't
there
you
relevance?
watch the scene that I asked to tack on?
No.
Okay,
we
can we
didn't.
do it now? It's only 2 minutes. Can we somehow like take a break?
A few moments later.
That's why you were gonna pick the episode. I love that.
Yeah, because to me, that is an example of the juggling act this show does so well, where first it'll give you something really unbelievably funny with people like mimicking his hand movements to dance and sort of mask his grief. And then that shot of Donna, who sees what's happening and just grounds the scene back to how sad it actually is. The way it can like make you laugh and then punch you in the heart 1 second later is like the epitome of why I adore this show.
Yeah, it did do that. I was really surprised because I didn't think it was going to be funny at all. And all of those scenes were really good. All the scenes in that building were really good, whether it was getting the call or Audrey going in and making that scene. They're like, absolutely don't let them find out that someone died here. The contract is going through at 4 o'clock today.
Dude,
she's been murdered.
The noise of her twisting that pen or pencil in the cup, I was like, oh my God, make it stop. Like,
when she was doing
she's
that,
such a jerk.
I know.
When she was doing that, I thought to myself, that is me. I've never had a styrofoam cup that I haven't been poking holes in or drawing all over or doing something.
But would you
like
spill coffee all over your father's important documents?
No,
like that?
I mean, that's insane.
And she just laughs like such a little devil.
Yeah. It's maniacal.
Definitely suspicious. I'm onto her. She had zero reaction in the classroom when they told everybody.
Yeah.
And she says to Donna in the beginning, like, have you seen Laura today?
Oh.
Yeah, she's infatuated, I think. Are
you dropping Easter eggs to us? Like, what are you doing?
I'm going to watch it and be like, fuck him.
Yeah.
There's a scene, I'm pretty sure it's the guy talking to Audrey. And he's like, is there something wrong, young pretty girl? I'm like, I need everyone
young,
to say that to
girl.
me. Yeah, everyone needs to address me that way from now on. Let's talk about, Shelley's like barely in it. She has the scene in the beginning, and then she has the scene with her, Leo is her brother?
No, Leo is her abusive husband.
Oh, husband.
So Shelley's cheating also.
Okay, so
and that's why he like freaked out when he saw the truck.
I could have swore.
Yeah, exactly.
What is okay? So Bobby says you're old man or something. Something very
that used to mean like your significant other.
Yes, and that's what threw me off because I was like, that can't be her dad. That must be her brother.
Yeah, in the old world, people called lovers mama and papa.
Wow, what an old world.
What a time.
But the scene is so stupid. Like, not stupid, but great. But Leo is crazy because he's like, look at there's 2 different types of cigarettes here. Yeah. And he's like, if I see you're smoking one type of cigarette from now on, I'm going to snap your neck like a twig.
Yeah, dude.
It's easy to call Leo like a bad actor maybe, or just like extreme. He's by the way, Joanna Ray, I think I'm not quite getting that name right, but that's her son. Joanna DeRay, whatever it is the casting director, and she actually cast most of the show, and that's her son playing Leo. And I love the performance. At first, you kind of laugh at it, but when you come to appreciate how just like over the top evil, and Lynch is always playing with over the top evil. This is one of his favorite topics, just the binaries of good and evil, and that's represented in Leo among many, many others. But I love it when he drinks without taking his eyes off of Shelley. He just swigs from his whiskey or bourbon or whatever with his eyes like stink-eyeing Shelley so hard. It's just a very funny moment to me.
Yeah, I wrote that he was scary.
He's the only person that Bobby is afraid of, and Bobby is really afraid of him.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question. I'm assuming, I hate to ask, but I'm going to ask anyway and see what you say. It's someone we've seen in this episode.
Oh, we've met everybody in this. Okay. I mean, that's not quite true. There's wonderful new characters who join the town, but it's not going to be one of them.
Okay. So at the end, we'll make our guesses.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's great. No, I think that's wonderful. Yeah. I promise I won't react.
I hate that.
Okay, so let's talk about what
I always have the worst guesses.
But don't you think this is what everybody was doing in 1990?
I mean,
this is what everybody was. This is like what they call a water cooler show, right?
Yep, exactly.
I think I just overthink it. Like, I'm like, they're throwing too much shade at this person, so there's no way that's that person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
they could still be horrible.
Yeah. I'm going to be like, Shelley. It's Shelley.
What's wrong with Shelley?
I don't know.
Of all the people who are cheating, I think she's the one with a spouse deserving of being cuckolded.
You see, I would go with the wacky answer and say it's like Donna or something, but she's acting too.
That's a crazy guess.
I know. I try and guess like the one you wouldn't think, and it's like she ends up
No
not
way,
meaning
it's
it.
Donna.
I mean, it can be. It's got to be a guy. She was.
Well, just remember that, Dale has a magic instinct. He just knows everything. So I love the moment when at the end, you guys earlier in this program were saying how James, he knows things. I don't know about that James.
Yeah.
But I love the moment when before they pull over James, or when they pull over, Donna's like, he didn't do anything. And Dale goes, she's probably right.
Yeah.
I know. I love when he like types on the thing when they're like
What is that
questioning
called?
Bobby. I don't know. It reminded me of like a calculator in like high school, but it's
Yeah.
not.
Do you know what those things are? Pocket something?
No, it looks like a calculator. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
Yeah, he didn't do it. He
And
does have good intuition.
I was like, wow.
I
What
don't know, like
guy.
a label maker. I can't guess what else it could be.
Yeah. Oh, a label maker.
No,
I
those
like
are.
it.
That has a name. I feel it.
It's definitely not a calculator. We could only write
It's
like
not a
hell and like boobies on the
Yeah, exactly.
calculators.
Yeah,
I thought
exactly.
That was so cool.
So in the safe deposit box or whatever it is, the key goes to. There's the Flesh World. Yeah.
Oof.
I was like, nice. Which has a picture of a Ronette in it, and then it also has a picture of a truck, which then they fade into Leo's truck, I believe.
Right.
And also
Right.
$10,000. So I don't know what that girl was into.
oh, yeah.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Wait, I think I meant to rewind it because I think I was blinking or something when it happened. What was, in regards to the R under the fingernail, where was the previous murder that had that? Just outside of town?
Oh, God, that's such a wonderful piece of trivia, and I'm kicking myself for not having it at the ready. If it was multiple choice, I would tell you exactly what the name of the town was. But it was like a neighboring town of Twin Peaks. It's like a loser town. It didn't go reported. It's almost like a yin and yang of Twin Peaks, as you'll come to find out. And nobody cared about the murder of Teresa Banks.
I know.
Why didn't we get a show about that?
You will.
Oh,
okay.
There's another Easter egg.
All right. So we're supposed to believe that our murderer in Twin Peaks also killed, what's her name? Teresa
Banks.
Teresa Banks. Okay, I'm writing that down in my diary.
So my favorite part of this episode was when they're questioning Bobby, and you see that they show him like they kept saying like the pictures, but it's like a video of her.
Yeah, the home movie.
Yeah, of her and Donna, and you see like he gets like a look in his eye that like he sees something but like doesn't say anything about it.
Right.
And then when the annoying ass secretary
Lucy?
like, yes,
I love her.
is like he
she's
said
great.
it was and Dale's like a biker, and then
Yeah.
zooms in on her eye. I was like, oh
Yeah.
fuck, that's crazy.
Well, that was the first thing I thought when they showed the video. I'm like, you got to zoom in on his eyeball because there'll be a reflection, or on her eyeball there'll be a
Right.
reflection. That's like classic.
There's got to be another reason other than just how piercing Cheryl Lee's eyes are and how wonderful that close-up is.
Yeah, and why does Donna lie when she could just say it's James? What about James incriminates him? Like if he has nothing to hide, it should be fine to say, okay, that was James. You know?
yeah, yeah.
But-
Well, she doesn't want what happens at the end of the show to happen. He gets locked up.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to choose based on process of elimination.
Probably Bobby's fucking psycho friend that was boning Donna too.
Mike?
Yeah, was he boning Donna?
Well, it's his girlfriend,
Yeah, that's
his
what I thought.
boyfriend.
But I don't know. They're
He's
all
such a
making out
dick.
with each other. I'm like, who is dating who? I don't even know.
The scene, oh my god, the scene where Donna and James make out is so funny and long. When they're just like, she says, "Oh, James," 17 times.
So that's leading up to a musical number that half of the Twin Peaks fans hate and can't stand, but the other half, of which I am included, think it's one of the best scenes in the entire show.
I am a
It's
musical
so corny,
scene.
but
I love
it.
Did you just say corny?
It is corny. It's more corny than Angelo Badalamento's score, which he called corny. That's for sure.
You like David Lynch films and shows, and I like things like Grey's Anatomy. So when Grey's Anatomy had a musical episode that everyone despised, I was like, I watch it, and I have these songs on my iPod.
Yeah,
Nice.
You know, I love it.
You're gonna have to kick me off this podcast because I could talk about Twin Peaks all day.
Yeah, I'm loyal to a fault.
You're very committed to your shows.
I am.
All of
Boy,
them.
am I.
Yeah. The barking scene, like I'm like, what the
Even the scene previous to that, in the jail cell, they cut away and then get to the parking. They're just staring at each other between the things for 25 seconds. 25 seconds of film is just them staring at each other, but with their, like, half of their eyes covered, like they're almost trying to hide but also be intimidating at the same time.
One thing in season 3 that, most people love and some people are like, are you kidding? Like, if you thought that moment went on long, there are moments in season 3 that just go on in the most delicious way.
The episodes are long, right? Like full
They're
hours?
in like an hour.
Or are they the normal 42? What did this originally air on?
Well, this originally aired on like NBC, I think.
Okay, so it should just be the normal.
And Showtime, it's however long it needs to be. Like sometimes it's 56, sometimes 58. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember.
I wish I did binge the whole thing so we could talk about because when I watch a show that I love, say Westworld or something, I like to listen to all the podcasts and I read articles after every episode and I like to know every single ounce of what's going on. But with something like this, it's hard to get that supplemental information.
So I write for a website called Screen Anarchy, and when this show dropped in 2017, like a friggin' miracle, when it was done, I unpacked my feelings on what I've just seen in a very long essay that really spells out exactly what I think the show means. And it's very in-depth. So you can read those in an essay format, which I'll leave. For anybody listening at home who's seen the entire show, feel free to click on it right away. And you can hear me talk about this without spoilers, or freely, without worrying about whether the audience has seen it or not, because it assumes the reader has seen everything. And the other thing I want to post is just a photo of me and Laura Palmer, Cheryl Lee, the actor who plays Laura Palmer. And she, meeting her was really wonderful. I got to interview her, but even cooler than that. So when I was in high school, I was obsessed with Twin Peaks. Let me tell you how I first discovered Twin Peaks. I live in Toronto. I grew up in Toronto. And I'd seen Blue Velvet in grade 9 and was really into it. Thought it was great. And then in 2001, David Lynch's Mulholland Drive was playing at the Toronto Film Festival. And I got a ticket, and Lynch was there, and I saw it with my friend Matthew, and Matthew hated Mulholland Drive, and I didn't know what the hell I had just seen. All I knew is that I had never been so stimulated emotionally, intellectually. I had never been more enthralled by what I had just seen, and I just could not wait for Mulholland Drive to come out in theaters. So I could see it again, which it did the following October. And I went opening weekend. And halfway through my second Mulholland Drive screening, the film made sense to me. And my heart sunk. Like, one of the top 5 most visceral reactions I've ever had in a movie theater or watching a movie was the second time I saw Mulholland Drive. And my heart broke for how heartbreaking that film is. And in that moment, I understood what David Lynch was all about. And then I remember getting like a Future Shop catalog, and it was the first time Twin Peaks was going to be on DVD. So it was season 1. All they were releasing was season 1. It didn't even include the pilot. So episode 1 was actually episode 2. And I didn't understand, and I had to see the pilot after the fact, which is stupid.
Wait, why wouldn't they include it in the DVD?
Because it belonged to like Warner Brothers. So here's a little backstory on the pilot, and then I'll get back to me. I wanted to give you a little bit of backstory on the pilot before we even started this whole conversation. But Mark Frost and David Lynch were given permission to do the pilot for a show that they called Northwest Passage. That is the name of episode 1, and it was the name of the show. It wasn't Twin Peaks. When they shot the pilot, which was months before they shot something else, pilots get made every day and they never get picked up and blah, blah, blah. They had a premiere for it, and everybody who was in it went, and everybody was just jaws on the ground. Like, this is what we were in? What is this show? And it just started getting like a reputation of like, NBC has this pilot and blah, blah, blah. And so it squeaked through. It was so mysterious and so unlike anything that was seen on television, it was Lynchian, which is like really edgy stuff, which is really marginal stuff. It was Lynchy that found a way to tap into the mainstream. So it gets on TV, and they let them make 8 episodes or whatever, which is season 1, or 7 episodes. Which they shoot in one thing, in one chunk. And then they just release them, and the world goes apeshit. So, like, season 1 is one beast. And season 2 is a little more complicated. So that's sort of the origins of Twin Peaks, how it started. So then cut to 2001, and I see this beautiful looking DVD for season 1 of Twin Peaks with Laura Palmer's prom picture. And it was like a plastic slide, and you take off the plastic, and behind it is her dead wrapped in plastic.
Oh, shit.
And oh my God.
That's awesome.
The packaging was so pretty.
It's brilliant.
So I buy it, I don't usually do this, buy things blind without having seen them, but I sure as shit did it with Twin Peaks. And me and my buddy Jesse plowed through the first 7 episodes, like every day after high school. We would go home. We were in high school watching Twin Peaks, and we were obsessed. But the season 2 wasn't on DVD yet. So on the weekends, I would go downtown, catch the subway to downtown Toronto from the suburbs, and go to our boutique video stores, which were Queen Video and Suspect Video, which were like right across the street. And every week I would go with like a list of 7 movies that I had learned existed. And Queen Video was the only chance I would have of being able to find these movies, because it used to be all about the hunt.
Oh, God. I'm listening to you say this, and I'm like, God, I didn't really live through that, but that sounds fucking awesome. Like, so rewarding to find what you're looking for.
Exactly. It was like a treasure hunt. And so when you discovered hidden treasure, it would really feel like that. That's why if you hear fogies, whatever, like I'm starting to be, talk about this golden era of like things not being accessible, like this is what we talk about. Like when you rent something, you can't just turn it off because you went to a video store and you paid for it.
Right.
So you're going to watch that whole movie.
Yeah.
Like unlike Netflix where like, after 30 seconds, you're like, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we went downtown and because on VHS, we rented the rest of Twin Peaks, and it looked so much shittier on VHS than it did on the DVDs, which of course now we make fun of for being like 360p. So we finished the show on VHS, and it's the greatest thing ever. And along the way, like friends of mine in high school would be like, what is the show that Jesse and Zach are watching? And so they would join. And by the time we got to Fire Walk With Me, I had a Fire Walk With Me party in my parents' house. And my friends still make fun of me for this. I gave a speech before we started watching.
I think you're my hero. I really do. You wrote a manifesto for Twin Peaks.
Well, it's very important to me. It's like a really important show to me. So when Matthew was like, what show did you want to do? My thoughts went to either The Simpsons or Twin Peaks. Like it could only be one of those 2 things. But it was obviously Twin Peaks, especially if we're using Twin Peaks to talk about Homewrecker. For those, maybe you're starting to get a picture of the things I care about and why Homewrecker looks the way it does. I don't know. But anyway, so getting back to when I met Cheryl Lee, Laura Palmer, at like some fan convention and got to meet her in 2014. So in high school, I had a framed picture, the prom picture of Laura Palmer that you see at the end of the show.
Yeah,
I had that in a place of honor, to quote the Elephant Man. In my bedroom, and people would be like, who's that? Why do you have a picture of that girl? And I'd be like, why, that was Laura Palmer. She was murdered by, and then I would usually tell them. And anyway, so I met Cheryl Lee. I had this great interview, and then I'm like, you know what? I need her to autograph the picture I had. So I told Cheryl Lee all of this. I told her that even after we moved, the only piece that I hung on to was my framed picture of your prom picture, and I asked her to autograph it, and she told me it was the coolest thing she's ever autographed.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's amazing. That must have made your heart swell. Okay, so we do get a prequel, so Laura Palmer actually gets scenes in that, I assume.
Oh, she gets scenes, all right.
Okay, good.
And let me tell you why. Because David Lynch hired Cheryl Lee only to play this dead girl wrapped in plastic and to shoot maybe a little bit of home video footage. He watched, he so goes on instincts, and he didn't have answers for any of these questions. It's not like he was just making a pilot. Like he wasn't thinking about the longevity of this show.
Wow.
He would do things like when he watched the footage of Cheryl Lee doing this picnic thing, when he when her and Donna slap hands, give each other 5 and back, he was just so enraptured by living Laura Palmer that he's like, I need to bring her back. And he called Cheryl Lee and he said, Cheryl, would you be willing to move to Los Angeles? She lived in like Washington State, as a lot of these actors did. Yes, David, of course I would love to, but I'm dead. Like, what role am I going to play? He's just like, we'll figure all that out. This is how he casts. He casts on instinct. He doesn't make people audition. He's just like, you have it, and I want it in the show, and we will figure out how to incorporate you.
I could listen to you talk about this. I'm like, I have not seen anything but the pilot, and I just love listening to you talk about it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I can't wait to keep talking to you about it, because I'm not in it to be on your podcast. I'm in it to talk about Twin Peaks with you.
Oh, hell yeah. Donna's dad was the sweetest angel in the whole world. And honestly, I literally go, when they go on the motorcycle, drop her off at James, I'm like, she left her sister's bike at the bar, now what? And then he's like, I heard we left your bike. I literally said that in my head. I'm like, that bike. I'm like, the poor sweet sister needs her bike. You totally
brought up another thing I want to talk about with Twin Peaks, which is just how wholesome David Lynch is as a person. And people find that hard to believe about David Lynch, because he's capable of writing scenes that are so ugly and so evil. He's coming from such a pure-hearted place of wholesomeness. And I think that's really reflected in Twin Peaks, because I think the title of that show is a metaphor for many binaries, good and evil, but Twin Peaks, balancing extremes. And one of these things is like wholesomeness and the corruption of good, which is one of the themes of his whole career. Yeah, so the wholesomeness of Doc Hayward, Donna's father, and the wholesomeness of that Twin Peaks, it's like, how could something this wicked happen in a place so pure, is the fundamental question, even more than who killed Laura Palmer. That's what that show is asking.
I think a lot of shows have taken that theme from Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
I mean, oh my God, that is the theme of so many different. This small town, nobody can understand or know or why this is happening in this small. No one thinks it's going to happen to them.
It really is.
It's a rhetorical question. It's like, why does evil exist? Like, or to put it like Laura Dern's character in Blue Velvet. The evil person in Blue Velvet it's played by Dennis Hopper, a character named Frank Booth, and she says, why are there people like Frank in this world? And I think that's the question David Lynch has asked his entire career.
Anything I say, I have nothing to back it up, just for the record. And I'm gonna go with
You're answering a question that David Lynch and Mark Frost did not know the answer to when they created what you watched. So think about that.
All right, I'm going with it's the sheriff.
Harry Truman, okay.
It's Harry S. Truman himself.
No fucking way. Hold on.
You're not the only person who has guessed it at some point or another. Whatever guesses either of you have, somebody has guessed it.
If I guess it and I guess it right, I'm not even giving myself props. It's picking a name out of a fishbowl at this point. So.
Who's Ben Horne?
Oh, he's certainly a suspect. Ben Horne is the one who owns the Great Northern.
I don't know. I don't know that much about Ben Horne to vote him.
There's a lot to know.
Yeah, I really just want to be right. I don't like losing.
Yeah, well, guess what? You have to watch it. I'm not telling you.
Oh, got me. All right, I'm going to go with obvious choice. I'm going to go with it can't be a girl.
Just say it.
I want to say Audrey, but I'm like, it can't be her.
Well, it could be like a double thing. Yeah. It could be like in a combo, but there has to be a guy involved.
Isn't Audrey a little too curious?
I don't know. I think it was the log lady.
All right, there you go. What's her deal?
Lady.
Maybe she's a murderer.
We didn't talk about the sawmill at all.
We met her once for a
which is very funny because you'll notice that the theme song, which changes by the time they get to episode 2, but the theme song for season 1 is all sawmill. All
right, I'm just gonna go with Mike.
Mike,
isn't that Bobby's friend?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Donna's boyfriend, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's an aggressor. No doubt.
I mean, he's such an ass the entire episode.
Yeah, he sucks.
Go here, Donna.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you imagine being a guy and driving up and there being another adult male standing there and just being like, get in this car right now, we're going to the sheriff.
Right.
Get in here. And he's just like, chill, dude.
I guess.
And Doc Hayward's just like, oh, young people.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess the actress that plays Ronette Was she not really in anything else? Yeah, so I said Mike. And now I know why I knew
Zach,
there
who
was
do you
3
guess?
seasons. Yeah, Zach.
I don't think I should answer this question.
Can you tell us, do you remember
She's
who
still
you
alive.
thought it was?
Yeah, okay, I can try.
Well, then
I don't know
then
about
we,
that.
Yeah, then
I
we
don't
know
know.
it's not that person.
I don't know. I guess in season 1, I probably wanted to know the most about Leo.
Yeah.
That's a given.
Yeah, and I want more from him because we only get that one
He's
scene.
spooky.
Yeah, he is.
I'm wondering if people thought Bobby back then was like a heartthrob.
He
Like,
is.
I did.
Because he's
Yeah,
like,
he
no,
100%
because he's
is.
like,
I
he's
currently
like
do.
a cutie face boy, but like,
I love Bobby
he's
Briggs.
bad to the bone.
Yeah.
So
And
it's like, do
exactly,
you? Because
bad
he's like,
boy.
yeah, but he's like he's not a good bad boy.
It's like,
James is the good bad.
Yeah.
yes. See, I
Which is what
might-
makes him so funny because he's so pouty faced. Like in high school, we used to make fun of James to no end. James is so cool. James is always so cool. It's like, is James that
Is
cool?
he? Yeah. When they were like, he's a biker, I'm like, and when he comes up
Yeah.
on the bike, I'm like, and they're like, it's a hog.
yeah.
But he's like
I
the
saw that.
sensitive bad boy. He's the James Dean, right?
Sure.
Like this is all a big throwback to the 50s.
Yeah.
And so he's the rebel without a cause.
Yeah, I didn't expect Bobby to be so defiant, even so cocky, just coming into school after taking Shelly's
Yeah.
swig of her whatever she was drinking at
Right.
8 a.m. And
He
just
owns
come-
the school. He's a football player.
Exactly, and they're like, they need you in the office. He's like, who? Why? And it's
Yeah.
like, just go, man. If someone in high school told me or Julie that we needed to go to the office, I'd start tearing up probably.
I like actually did.
yeah, like why?
Yeah, what did
like
I do?
Either one, everyone I know is dead, or 2, I did something really bad.
Yeah.
Well, it's all extremes. It's all playing off cliche and exaggeration.
Yeah.
Oh my God, well, I loved this show. I can't wait.
Wait till you see the door you've opened, the door you've cracked open. Wait till you open that thing wide open.
So I was gonna keep watching. I watched this yesterday, and I said no, and I kept going with Dexter instead. But I'm 1,000% halting Dexter. There's 8 seasons. I can't.
Yeah, Dexter is good. Twin Peaks is holy.
Yeah,
The last
it's Bible.
like couple seconds of this episode makes you want to watch the second episode. Like
Oh,
when
yeah.
they find the
Yeah.
necklace and the mom just starts screaming.
Mhm.
I actually did
There's a lot of screaming in this
I
episode.
know. I started the
Yeah.
second episode, but then I was like, oh, it didn't pick up there. So I just
Well, that's the thing. I've
I
had
was like,
some
damn
friends
it.
be like, some friends know how much I love Twin Peaks, and they'll be like, okay, I'll try to give it a shot. And then first one, they can't get over, like they think, oh, the pilot is nothing but screaming and and just grief. And, that tone starts washing away, and all that's left is like grief as comedy, as exemplified by the clip I shared, where Leland is like, cannot get over this horrible thing that's happened, but it's starting to be a little comical. Absurd.
See, it's
Grief to an absurd level.
it's grief, but it's what made me like love these characters. Like I'm in because it's
Right.
so emotional, and every single character is feeling what's happening and doing their own wacky things. And it's the fact that it's an hour and a half. It really packs the punch. Like I am like,
Yeah,
I
double
love these
episode.
characters, and I can't wait to see it. Oh my God, I can't wait. I'm gonna go home and watch it tonight.
This is great. I can't wait for our follow-up episode whenever it happens.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for coming on. We appreciate the passion. I love it. It's the best.
Talk about the passion.
I love it. Julie, any final remarks?
I mean, I liked it.
Oh, God. I'm not
glad.
telling you anything about it.
This is just
You think Audrey killed Laura. Got it.
Yeah. No, I do. I actually do enjoy like shows like this, not lying. And I'm really
Good.
into books like this. And
Yeah.
Kathleen
Yeah.
has been making fun of me because I've been saying I haven't been watching TV because I've been reading a lot.
Do
Fine.
you like Agatha? Do you like Agatha Christie?
Agatha Christie,
Yes.
and then there were none?
Yeah,
love
Who,
that.
who done it?
Who
we
done it?
read that in 7th grade.
Yeah, we did, and I loved it. I bought my parents, they were doing it in a play in Philly, and they went and saw it, but I really wanted to go myself.
I want to reread
And then
that.
when I got them the tickets, they were like, "Oh!" And I was like, "Wow, that's not what I wanted out of that reaction." For the record, I've never made fun of her for reading. I just want her to watch. The
Yeah,
things
that
I
would be
watch.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's literally insane. Everybody
Thank
read.
you. I
Everybody
had
watch
fun.
Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Wait, so what's the curriculum? Blue Velvet, and what's the
I
second
mean,
one?
chronological order, honestly.
Okay.
Like, I would only watch Lynch in chronological order. But I think you're totally fine to just watch Twin Peaks without going into every film he made leading up to it.
Okay.
Don't do what I'm about to say.
Okay.
But I would almost say watch Twin Peaks, then watch every film in between Twin Peaks and Twin Peaks Season 3, The Return, because that all kind of comes into play. I actually think Twin Peaks The Return is so brilliant because not only does it return to every theme in Twin Peaks, he also manages to poke at everything he's ever cared about in Season 3.
So you're saying to watch that in between Season 3, like watch it and then watch
everything.
Okay,
yeah, but
it.
I'm not.
So,
I think you should just. It's
absolutely
already
don't do this,
too
but
big
do
a
this.
challenge. Look, if I was
for a
actually
challenge.
getting to do a curriculum, like as I said, it would be in chronological order. I mean, I try to do that when I get into any filmmaker, even author. It's a little bit harder with authors because books are so much more of a commitment. But if I am determined to read everything an author does, I will start at the beginning because I think it all tells a chronological story.
I've never thought about it that way. I've never, weirdly enough, I've never taken it from like a director standpoint and said, okay, I'm going to watch all of their works. I just so happen to sometimes, I don't know why. That seems like a very logical way to go about it because Matt texted me today about something. I forget what. Yeah, and he was like, you watch this, so I think you would like all of this stuff.
Who?
Brian Fuller.
I hear Hannibal's
I
great.
see.
Okay, well, that
A nice
was
90
Zack
minutes.
Gayne. Yeah, like Zack Gayne, and watch his movie Homewrecker. I totally forget where it is streaming, so go to the beginning and
all the
listen
things,
to that
luckily.
again. Just Google it,
It's
and you shall
streaming
find.
everywhere.
Yeah, and that was an amazing episode, and I can't wait to watch the rest.
Thanks for listening.
I had so much fun. Thank
Thanks
you guys
for
having
coming
me.
having
on. You can come back
All the way from Japan.
when I watch it
Yeah.
in 2022.
Cool.
This has been My Favorite Episode Of. My Favorite Episode Of is produced by Matt Kelly as part of the Geekscape Network and hosted by Julie and Kathleen. Check out our show notes for all of our socials and email us at myfavoriteepisodepodcast@gmail.com. Rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting apps, and we'll be back next week with another episode of My Favorite Episode Of.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.